Lakeville Capital Expenditures Committee meeting. For introduction's sake, we'll start with
Maureen Candido, representative of the Finance Committee.
Leah Fabian representing the Select Board.
Michael Smith at large.
We have Todd
Todd
Hassett,
Town Accountant,
and
Bob Noon's interim town administrator.
all right. So typically the Capital Finance Committee has one more person, which would be another at-large person. So that position will need to get those going forward. But I think at this point we'll give it to Bob and let you take it away.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I look forward to working with all of you. We're not looking for any votes today because there's still we need some questions answered from Plymouth County in regards to ARPA. Not quite sure if you want to meet with any department heads, but we are up against a tight timeline, and then obviously the Select Board will be involved as well. So the Capital Planning Committee, I should say the Capital Plan has been, it's a yearly event, and these projects have been submitted over the years, and there's a 5-year plan. And, working with the department heads, these projects were put into the plan. So if you want to do the capital plan first, then the ARPA plan, we can do that, or the ARPA projects.
Yeah, let's work on the capital first, which is typically, the bigger items that, we don't pay for out of the, just so folks know, out of the operating budget. Could be anything from cruisers to DPW stuff, yes. Which kind of looks like what it is here.
I did some of the department heads when I sent the email to the department heads regarding ARPA projects. Some of the department heads sent what was in the capital plan. So rather than duplication, if it was on the capital plan, I left it on the capital plan. And if it was new, it's on the ARPA plan. And then we'll figure out the funding source after we determine which projects should move forward. But the 25 projects are in the 25 column. And then Todd color-coded where potential funding could come from for those fiscal year 25 projects, non-ARPA funding.
Okay. So I'll start.
Yep.
I know this is under the 27, but the $1 million there for the Council on Aging, I don't see us, after all the work that we've done for the last year, I don't necessarily see us asking for $1 million wherever the funding's coming from, because the group is working on a smaller type of an option to get them the space that they need right now. And giving them the space for what they need, which could involve just a small little addition of like just a couple hundred square feet, will free up space in some of the bigger rooms where it's taking up space now. So those couple of things for anyone who is interested is like the food pantry and the brown bag program, which is all food related. So we don't want, our seniors struggling. So that would be something good. But right now, some of that stuff gets done, and Meals on Wheels, that all gets done out of one of the big rooms. So
does it have extra access? Is that going to be part of the plan?
Yeah.
So it drives the traffic away from the main areas?
Yep, and it'll provide for privacy and confidentiality.
Which is very important.
Yeah, which is really nice, yep. And if you look at the building, so, there's a few staff members working on that, including the facilities person, Bob, Lori, the director, and Nate Darling. So they're all taking a look at that and seeing if we can do that for some really short money versus spending $1 million. So
great.
I don't know how this affects that going forward, but that's definitely something that I think can come off of this. I don't know. I know it's color coded. So I don't know, Todd, if that helps you out at all.
So if it's the committee's pleasure, we could moderate this number down. The year before, those funds were for design.
Yep.
So that could be moderated down as well. And again, the out years are more sort of having things on the radar, not losing
Yep.
sight of potential projects or purchases.
Yep,
And they may change by the time we get to 27. So if the committee has some thoughts about the number they'd
Leah,
like
is
to
there a
carry
number?
in the plan.
so in the, what Director Fahey did was she worked with Bob and worked with, the facility, we work with Paul Nee and Nate Darling, and they came up with, what the potential, price would be, and she put in for an ARPA request of $250,000.
Got it. That's
So,
significant.
and the good news is there's also some money, and like the Friends Group is also willing to donate money for furnishings, so even that won't fall to the operating budget or, and of course, the way our operating budget is, even if we had the money to do a $1 or $3 million addition, we don't have the money for the extra staff to take care of the building and everything else, so those options, I think, are just not, I don't see us
Okay.
asking for $1 million anytime soon to
Sure.
do a big addition for that
So given
building.
that the scope is reduced, we could just put one number in the 27. I'm just suggesting this.
Yep,
Take the number out of 26 and
Yep.
just put a number in 27 that would include any design related. So maybe the number, just for example, could be 275.
yep,
And
okay,
then we'll moderate it,
Yep,
we'll adjust
yep.
as we get closer.
yep,
But we could take the 60 out
yep,
and then replace the million with 275,
okay,
just a suggestion.
yep, no, it sounds good.
Todd, I have a question.
Sure.
I'm still a little confused. So, as we know, the Parks Capital Plan comes out of the enterprise fund, right?
So anything that's highlighted in yellow,
I'm sorry, I'm colorblind, so I don't see.
oh, I
anything.
apologize. Well, for the rest of you, the items highlighted in yellow would be proposed to be funded from retained earnings from either the solid waste transfer station fund, enterprise fund, or the park fund. So in terms of the park project specifically, we're showing the FY25 $15,000.
But that's only if we have 15,000 left over from this past budget. from
Yeah,
this
and the
past year,
budget's been
right?
developed so far to accommodate that. And then, in the last year, the 5th year of the plan, the skate, the
Park.
skate park improvements, which is an potential ARPA project.
Right.
So that may go away. If that's still out there, that was proposed. The items, in between, were to be funded from, free cash or another, not from retained earnings.
Okay.
The larger, the 6-figure projects.
So all of these other capital requests, truck replacement, everything, that comes out also out of another fund, like you said, the waste, I mean, so where would these other projects get funded by?
So, in terms of the transfer station, they need to replace the roll-off truck.
Mhm.
And so we'd be looking at taking, I believe it's 165,000 from retained earnings, which is almost all of their retained earnings. And then the balance would come from free cash. This is for the 25 next year plan,
Right.
proposal. And for all 5 years, we're not proposing anything that's, tax supported, if you will, other than potential borrowings, which could be the, future fire station, a new fire station, of
Got
course, because of the size.
Thank
And
you.
a
So-
fire engine,
I'm
or
not-
ambulance maybe require
So
financing.
this is from free cash.
This is from free cash?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it gets a little when it gets to the enterprise funds, but almost everything else is from free cash.
Now, so if we go ahead and approve some and some don't, we don't know if there's enough free cash to cover some or all or whatever.
We've presented for you in the 25 column, enough that there would still be over 200,000 unappropriated in free cash, from free cash.
After
So we'll be
all.
using.
So
we'll go to-
I'm sorry.
So we'll be going to town meeting
Mhm.
in September with these articles based on the free cash that we currently have.
Okay. So, okay, I understand.
Yeah, so prior to getting to this group, we had to trim and move some things around to make it work for next year. The largest example of that is the first line under Public Works. We have been annually funding $375,000 for roadway improvements, but we did drop that to $250 for next year. And that was because, we wanted to leave some free cash, not go right to zero.
Correct.
And we did move a few other things around. The other thing I just want to point out to the group, you'll notice in the left column, there are a few things that have the numeral 1 in brackets. And those are a couple of purchases that we would be looking to do from existing unexpended capital balances, which we've done, each of the last few town meetings, where we'd list the unused balances, and it might total $30,000, and then we'd apply that to a particular new purpose. So we were looking to do the tasers replacement for the police department for $15,000, the truck replacement for animal control, $35,000, from prior year capital unexpended balances the projects are completed.
I do have a question, as long as you mentioned it.
Sure.
Everyone loves Dave Freights, but didn't we just buy a truck?
Yes, this is the other vehicle for animal control. There are two vehicles, and it's, I believe, around 22 years old.
Yeah,
It's-
little
yeah.
SUV,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
That's-
the Ranger, he has
Thank you,
two.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no, Dave's truck's still good.
I was gonna say, I thought we just bought that.
No,
he
you're
needs-
right,
He
yeah.
needs another SUV for transporting
Correct.
because of the, gotta keep the pets in,
Yeah,
in the
okay.
truck bed.
He can't use his own personal car?
I'm sure he has.
Yeah,
And there's also one item under Public Works, the riding mower and zero-turn mowers for $25,000, which we would, if the committee approves, we would be asking the Board of Assessors to release overlay to surplus to fund those. So those three items we would take care of at the special within the annual. And then the remaining items that are approved are either from retained earnings or free cash.
Okay, so under the Public Works, that number 1 would be coming from the overlay.
Yes,
The truck replacement would be from,
that would be from old capital balances,
okay,
as well as the 15,000 for the tasers. This is what we're proposing
Yeah.
for your consideration.
Now, I know 26, 27, 28, 29, when we do it again next year, can change.
Absolutely.
oh,
So
absolutely.
we can just erase all this,
Yep.
and then they can put other requests in.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
our really main concern is 2020.
Correct.
Yeah. But certainly to Leah's earlier point, if something here is unreasonable, either too high, too low, let's at least get it to where the committee's comfortable as far as a plan.
Todd, can I ask you,
Of course.
what's left in the overlay, after that? We used to keep like 130,000 in the overlay, is
In the
that still?
yeah, there's probably in excess of 300,000.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I don't have that with me, Maureen, but.
As long as
a
it's not like
comfortable-
28.
Yeah, no, it's a comfortable, and we don't have any like pending ATB cases that
Perfect.
could.
Thank you.
Raid that.
but we're not fully funding it like we usually do. That's one place where we did cut, right?
We're funding it to the level that it historically is used, so that we're not
Okay.
creating surplus, if you
Surplus,
will.
okay.
That's right.
But we are still funding it, just not, because a lot of times we fund it with 250.
Yep, and
And
we're
then if
looking
they
to
don't need
do
it, they vote it
use a
out on
lower
the other
number for
side,
next
but,
year. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we're doing what,
It's around
175?
205.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yep. And that
So-
includes statutory exemptions,
Okay.
not just abatements.
Yeah.
Yep.
On the design contract of fire station, it has 100,000, 120. So why would we need this if we're going to build a new fire station, which should already have this in there? Why would there be improvements with a new building?
So there are two items here under the select board. The first one is design for a new fire station to be determined. You see a footnote 2 to the left, which suggests that sometime during 25, not the June town meeting, but perhaps in the fall, something may go before the town, depending on how the project progresses. And we don't know what that dollar amount is. The second line is technology improvement, so that involves the town's network and IT.
Oh, okay, so it's not,
Stuff, they're two completely separate.
okay, I thought it was tied into the.
No, I'm
fire
sorry,
station.
no, the first,
Okay.
yeah, they're completely separate.
In regards to the fire station project, we had a meeting last night. Town meeting, as you know, appropriated, I think, $220,000, which we're currently paying,
The project manager.
yeah, the project manager and the architect. Most likely, we will go to the June town meeting for an additional request for funding for schematic design. And then at the fall town meeting, go to town meeting with a plan of project cost.
So there'll be a final figure. in
Final figure for the
fall,
fall town meeting,
Which
correct?
will be voted on whether we want to do it or not.
That's correct,
Okay.
yes.
So the intent is to ask for some
Some
design money
yes.
in the June warrant.
That is correct. That was confirmed last night. We don't know what that number is at this time, so we'll probably do a placeholder.
Why wouldn't the library, well, it says, oh, the COA furnace and why wouldn't they put anything for 2025 and wait till 2026, do you know?
Which
Again,
one is
we're,
that?
we're trying to spread these costs based on the need and
Okay.
available
So
funds.
it wasn't a real need for them, they think
The
another year?
library roof, I think if you looked a year ago from memory, we had that targeted for FY '27, so we've actually
okay.
moved the roof up a year. The facilities has had to do some minor repair work on it recently.
Got it.
And the furnace was, again, we may end up tying that into the building addition. That may make more sense.
Exactly,
you know?
okay.
Yeah, that is one thing that.
Right,
the
so that may go out a
feasibility study
year.
said,
Yeah.
that we're definitely gonna have to address that.
Right.
Okay. So we are starting with how much in free cash? I think I missed that number,
Right now, we have a balance of about 1.5.
1.5.
For what?
And
I'm
for
sorry.
the total in free cash.
balance. Yep.
Total and free cash,
Yeah,
okay.
so
to be
then
used.
if we go through and we deduct all this,
About three something.
yeah,
It's about a little over 900,000.
yep.
So we're also proposing to put money into the stabilization fund as we annually do, 150,000, and continue our annual funding of other post-employment benefits at the same level we've done the last few years, which is 310,000. So there are non-capital, if you will, items besides what you have in front of you that the $1.5 million could be, town meeting could consider using.
Okay.
And this is available as July 1st, is that what it
This is available now until June 30th.
It's
is? No, I'm talking about, once it gets approved, the money can be used starting in.
Yes,
fiscal
starting,
year.
thank you, yes,
Yeah.
after July 1st, yep.
Question for you, Todd. When we're talking about the leftover money from other ones, is that part of the 1.5? Or is that additional on top of the
Additional.
1.5?
That's
Okay.
additional, yes, yep. And right now, I've targeted about 53,000 that I know can be released, so we paired it with 50,000 of actual requests.
Okay,
How many cruisers is that?
It's 3, we typically do 2 a year, and I believe this is an unmarked,
Yes.
which happens every so many years. In fact, this was a discussion point we had in terms of the ARPA funds, perhaps that third one, where we've got a little bit of a spike in 25, maybe that could be funded through ARPA rather than
All three.
town funding.
Yep.
so just because I know, the cruiser thing is a, much talked about, thing after we do these talks and at town meeting and everything, and, what I know is that, cars have a certain life expectancy, the motor keeps running even, when the vehicle, they may be inside, but sometimes the
Sure.
engine still goes, whatever. But there is a formula that they use to determine when it's time to, so that we also can get a decent value for you know, trading it in and everything else, so we're trying to maximize, it's not, some of these
Yeah,
vehicles.
the frontline cruisers are typically 3 to 4 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but they do use a whole formula by
Oh,
which.
yeah, and Matt
those-
could explain it much more eloquently than us.
Yeah, yeah,
Please
yeah,
do.
exactly,
Yeah.
so I just
But-
want folks to know that, you know, it's not like we have brand-new vehicles, and we approve 3, it may be January before they order a new one, so, you know, it doesn't mean that they just go shopping and,
No, and there's lots of delays, as you know
Yeah.
now, with, particularly with vehicles, and,
yeah,
and, to that point, that just reminds me, one thing under the fire department you see in the plan is year 2 of the 10-year lease purchase of the ladder truck, which just arrived on
Yep.
Friday.
yep,
So the time, it's on site, they have their training in a couple of weeks, and then we'll put it into service. And our first payment, which was in this year's budget, is going to be made in June. So every June for the next 10 years, and then we'll pay off the $1.4 million ladder truck.
okay.
Who maintains the cruisers? I mean, as far as whether it's an oil change or transmission, I mean, who takes care of that? Do we,
Public Works,
so it goes over to, okay.
yeah.
Okay, any questions other than that on the capital plan from us? Mr. LaCamera, do you have a question on the capital plan?
I have a question on the fire station project. I know that Bob just said they were
Yep.
talking about a certain amount,
Sure,
and it's probably, you know,
do you want to join us?
not really.
Well, the microphone's right there.
So, you're probably talking $500,000 to $750,000,
No numbers have been,
right? But
Presented.
you're talking about design services and so
schematic
forth and
design,
so on.
yeah.
So, don't you think it's time to ask the voters if they want to support this, fire station project? Because how are you gonna pay for that?
That would have to be a borrowing authorization. That would be my initial reaction. I just learned this now, so,
Yeah.
about the schematic design, so.
But, you know,
But we
we're talking about a $25 million project
Yes.
here now, at this point.
So we do have the capital stabilization fund,
Yep,
which has an excess of $3 million in it.
yep.
No, I
That gave you an
understand,
option.
I
Yeah,
understand
which
all
you
of that,
obviously will
but-
not, yeah,
You know, you don't wanna tell the taxpayers that we already spent 220 and whatever the feasibility study was, 300,000, I don't remember the numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so you're probably talking, my guess is, this is just my guess, okay? You're probably talking $800,000. And I think that it's time to tell the taxpayers that this is what we're gonna do, and this is gonna require an override vote, you know, to do that. Because if you go ahead and you wait till the fall, and then all of a sudden you go, oh my God, you spent all that money and this project is dead. You know, it's not gonna move forward. So that's just, I think that needs to be done now.
I will bring your concerns to the next meeting. Our next meeting, I think, is April 10th. It's a Wednesday.
I know they did have a couple of different scenarios by how to ask for money if they, you know, want to ask for more. And I'm not sure, because I didn't watch your last meeting yet, what was decided, but, I do know we're a little bit ahead of where we were in January, because in January, there was no, intention to ask for any money. So right now, if you're saying that we're gonna ask for some schematic, then,
Yep.
you know, that means it's moving a little forward, so.
Yes.
Are we still able to open the warrant?
What's that?
The
Are you
warrant,
still able to open the warrant at this juncture?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put a placeholder. We'll put a place. I think that's April 8th.
It's April something.
Yeah.
That Friday.
Yeah.
Whatever that Friday is.
so, okay.
So, I mean, I think the other thing that, you know, it's, once again, you're presenting this capital plan to town meeting, okay? So if that number is, whatever it is, $750 for the design services, you should also have a placeholder in here that says, this is a $25 million project. So when people look at this, they're gonna say, oh, the fire station's $25 million, okay? That's just my opinion, because we're not showing them anything,
No.
and we're not presenting
We're not.
anything, you know, to them at town meeting.
All right.
The other suggestion was the Old Colony project. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
massive project.
Yeah,
You know, that's gonna come quicker than you think. And so, once again, that is not in the capital plan, and it should be put in the capital plan, you know, as a placeholder, of what it's gonna cost the town of Lakeville. It's probably gonna cost the town of Lakeville $40–50 million.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be the
And
biggest
so, once
ask.
again, and tell people, the taxpayers, hey, this is coming. You know, these are two major projects that are gonna cost a lot of money for the town. So that's my opinion.
So Richard, are you thinking by putting in the $25 million figure for the station that people may reject?
They may,
They may reject it because they don't want it,
Yeah.
so why put money towards it?
right,
So we might get an idea of what people think.
yeah.
Is it 50% or 75%? 2/3 vote? What is it for the capital?
2/3.
Two-thirds.
For the big
The
month.
borrowing.
Yeah,
Yeah, but for this, the capital is
Oh, no, this would be majority.
If you-
This is
Simple
majority.
yeah, the
But if
capital
you're gonna
plan.
borrow the money,
But if we borrow.
big borrow,
it's
which we're
2/3.
not,
Yep.
for this.
But they have not come up with any cost of the fire station. As Rich said, that was his estimate.
that's not my estimate, but, you know, I'm just, from past,
No, it makes sense.
from past
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, but that's not the
Project.
official cost of the project.
So
They
what
haven't
would you
got
put
that.
in there? Anything?
Well, no, that's what we need to discuss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
But
haven't
is your-
got that far yet.
So it's you're thinking that we will put something in there in the more, that,
Oh, for schematic design, we will, yes, there will be a request for additional funding, yes.
right.
Right now, there's 220 you know, we have 220, that's not gonna be enough.
Are we almost through the 220
No.
now?
No,
No,
we've
we
only
just
spent
sent
about
some bills.
53,000.
Oh,
We
okay,
just approved 2 invoices
Yeah,
at the last
yeah.
meeting.
okay.
Yep.
So we're still covered with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments on the capital plan? And you're not asking us for a
No,
vote?
no.
Okay. Cause it still may change, so, so we'll go to number 2, the ARPA project equipment request. So,
Can I have a
Okay.
quick question first before
Sure.
we get into it?
yep,
Can you explain, there's direct funding and then there's the grant from Plymouth County, right?
Yes.
So as we're looking for,
Yeah, so let me give you
yeah,
an
can you just give it to
overview.
me?
Yes,
Thanks,
of course.
I'm sorry.
No, no, that's,
no, it's okay.
that makes perfect sense, Mike.
Excuse me, Todd, can I ask one more
Of
question
course.
on the capital plan, please? The security improvements, I know we talked about a lot of security improvements, you know, especially for the park department, it was $22,000, if I remember the number correctly. Has that been funded?
No, I mean, there was an issue that the police station couldn't do it for us, okay? When Ari was here, that there was some issue with, I don't know if it was internet and stuff, so I went out and purchased 6 cameras that'll run through a phone line. So that's all we have right
Isn't
now.
it town hall? You're talking about town hall
No, I'm
security?
talking about over
park.
There's
here.
a whole security thing.
Because we've had damages
I
there,
know there
we got
is a-
new
oh,
playground, new everything.
I know there's a
Yeah, that's-
proposal that was done by Ryan, the lieutenant here.
But Ari didn't further it.
That's what I'm asking, the
Yeah,
question, you know.
no,
should we-
Ari didn't further
Yeah.
it.
I mean, $22,000 is not a lot of money to provide security for billions of dollars in investments in this property right
Rich, are
here.
you talking like trail cams or something outside?
Yeah,
No, it-
outside cameras, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
for Clear Pond where we keep, snack bar, we got a snack bar down there, we got a dumpster people do, and then here we got the playground and, everything here, and sometimes there's damage, so I'm putting up those signs, but
Yeah, a couple of years ago, the volleyball courts were vandalized
I
and,
remember during COVID, everyone
There's
was
drinking going
vandalizing
on
the,
here.
yeah,
the
So,
basketball courts constantly.
so Bob, what was being proposed was gonna be monitored by the dispatch center,
Oh, okay.
as is being monitored by the other locations, the senior center,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
I don't know if the library's been done or not.
So Ryan Maltese has this report?
I mean?
Ryan Maltese
Yeah,
has
I
this
think-
Yeah.
report?
So,
I actually have a copy too, I can send it to
I
you.
mean, $22,000 is not a lot of money.
Mm.
I mean, you can even use the ARPA money for that too, if you wanted to.
But I don't know if it was the money or that he could actually do it even with the money.
No, he can do it.
Okay. I'll send it to you.
Good, thanks.
okay. All right, so moving on to the.
I'm sorry, he was gonna explain.
Oh, okay, I forgot.
The
Thank
funding
you.
source is opera.
Okay, yeah, just to sort of set the framework here. So the town has received allocations of federal funding through the ARPA program some direct funding from the federal government, which we physically have the cash in hand. That's the 1.2 million on the bottom half of this exhibit. And the balance of the funds are being administered through Plymouth County, much like our CARES, the CARES program was administered in Plymouth County. And in that case, most of those funds, we are considered a subrecipient, so there are more strict uses, and about 350 or 60,000 is what they refer to as revenue replacement. And those funds have been allocated for 2 projects, the Gamache Playground, which is substantially completed, I think, and the Old Town Hall restroom. And there are 2 projects the select board approved to use some of this that have gone through Plymouth County. The purchase of an ambulance, fully equipped ambulance, I think, which we expect maybe in May. I forget, not too far down. And then the water project, which we've just initiated. I mean, there's only been design engineering work done on to date. So Plymouth County, so the general rule with ARPA funds is the community needs to commit to various purchases or projects during no later than calendar 24. And the work has to be completed by the end of, no later than the end of calendar 26. So we've got time with the federal, local, direct money to decide. The select board has time, if you will. But we're getting pressured from Plymouth County. They're on a more aggressive timeline because if a community doesn't allocate all of their funds, they want to
Allocate it out to
allocate
other
it
people.
to Brockton or somewhere else.
Yeah, Plymouth.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The usual suspects.
Yeah. So, and you know, we're delinquent in letting Plymouth County know how we propose to spend our full allocation. And then I think it's late August is our sort of drop dead final report to Plymouth County. But we need to get them something in April for Lakeville. And we would have time to certainly modify it if we needed to by the end of August. So you'll see there are a number of projects in the box that the select board have approved. One of which I note the early approval was for the vaccine and testing services for COVID-19. We've not
That
spent a
didn't
nickel.
happen. Yep.
So I'm showing that that's really available in my mind to repurpose for some other town program or equipment or project. We've also been investing the 1.2 million, and the investment earnings are have to date are $40,000, which add to the available funds. And the board has not taken a vote on the 4 firefighters for FY25, but I can tell you they're not in the proposed budget. And we did discuss it Monday evening briefly with the board.
Yep.
If the intent was, so the thought is that the fire chief is going to pursue a different federal grant to sustain funding for these 4 firefighters after.
Because eventually it'll end and then.
But eventually it's on us.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
right. And so if that grant comes through, that'll buy us some more time. If it doesn't, alternately, there's enough money here, if we did nothing else with the direct funds, we could likely fund these 4 firefighters for FY26 as well, but through these funds. So we'd commit the funds in 24 saying we're gonna,
Okay.
and we could pay the firefighters out through 26, but, you know, there's a lot of other needs as you'll see. And so with the 800,000 from Plymouth County, that's what's the critical piece as far as timing, as far as we've got to at least let them know. And we've got to work with them as to what they'll approve to. it's a little stricter because it's not this revenue replacement. So it falls under, some, water, sewer, broadband, there's a number of categories.
So for the ARPA,
Yep,
we really have to be on point with that.
I believe
Yes.
so,
Yeah.
yes, yep.
I mean, for the Plymouth County.
For
Yes,
Plymouth County,
Plymouth
yep,
County.
Yeah,
yep.
So is the unused balance 818?
Yes, sir. Yep,
And
yep.
then the bottom figure is,
Is like 500,000,
that's the unused for the government?
yeah.
yep, yep,
Direct funding from the
direct
feds.
funding.
So the first one, so is your thought to drain one of them first?
Well, I think we need some guidance as far as allocating the Plymouth County and at least tell them this is our thought.
Just to
How we're
get it
gonna
in there.
Yep, and lock it in for Lakeville and not lose it to another
I got
community.
it, yeah.
Yeah,
But we're not ready to do that today because Todd and I are still waiting word from Plymouth County about the
you-
deadlines and what we need to do.
But you just want us to give us a yay or, not a vote yay or no, but just to say, why are we doing this, why are we doing that?
Yeah,
or-
just for general discussion, wanted to get into the public forum.
Yeah.
That I did send out a letter, an email to all the department heads. So these projects have come from department heads. Two of the projects was mentioned by former selectman, Rich LaCamera, which is on the list, because it has been discussed at other public forums in the past. So I recategorized a few of the projects from the email that I sent out yesterday. I did put the irrigation well at the library, under the library, the irrigation well at the police station, under the police department. And I put the design traffic signalization at Bridge and Main Streets under traffic. And the other project was where was it?
oh, the Arts Council, the first one?
No, got the Arts Council under the Arts Council.
That was new, yeah.
And the water line to the site of the proposed new fire station under the fire department.
Okay.
So it's just I categorized it differently. And again, we don't know what the cost of that water line project would be because it's not, it's not in design, nor the traffic signalization as well. The old library window upgrade, wasn't able to get an estimate from the facilities manager. But, if he'd work on that immediately. Sound system, don't have a price on that. The parks, I know they gave some estimates, not quite sure where they got those numbers from.
Well, we
Cause-
had a consultant come in, and as far as the skate park people, it was kind of a bid, but not a bid, we asked them, we got design on it, and we got prices, we got labor, and then plus, we're gonna resurface it, so that's about where we got it. I mean, that'll be what you see here is the maximum that it'll cost, but you always put it in. So that's where we got that. As far as the beach playground, basketball courts, I think some people got, some, not bids, but estimates on that.
Yeah, to me, that seems low from my experience with playgrounds. But that's the number that the park commission
Well,
gave, so.
it's a very, playground's the size of this.
Yeah,
interior.
it depends the
Yes.
playground, I guess, as well.
It's not big at all.
Yeah, and I'll take the heat for this, but my issue with trying to put playgrounds and everything there is, it's open, 2 months of the year? And then what do we do? Because you can't have people there unattended because of the water, let's say,
Well, it's
right?
locked. It has to be locked.
Right, so why are we putting in playgrounds and then telling people, but you can't use it 10 months of the year? So,
I have my thoughts on it, and I did it to the parks, but I don't want to,
yeah, I mean, I'm all for doing work at Ted Williams because it's open 365 days of the year.
and John Pond too, that's
Yeah,
open
yeah, that's open.
6 months too.
Yeah, but Clear Pond is, I would rather see a nice little picnic area, cleaned up picnic area there than putting a whole bunch of stuff that we can't maintain either. So irrigation wells don't qualify under Plymouth County, right?
I'm not sure that they do. I think what we'd hope today is to get some guidance or thoughts from you,
Yep,
from the committee, and then we would talk with Plymouth County.
I can answer that question to them.
Okay,
They rejected it. They
Okay.
rejected the irrigation.
yes.
okay.
Wells.
I was kind of speaking to the whole list.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Oh,
you can
okay.
do it on the bottom part. You can't
We can do it on the bottom part,
you can't do
exactly,
it on the county.
Can't do it
exactly,
Plymouth
exactly.
County.
I had
Yeah.
a question on that, for the current water project that's, already listed as, in phases. This is the John Pond project. Do we have any updates on that? Because last I heard, Blueberry Estates was not going to let us run, through them, and then,
Yeah, that was ixnayed as far as we're concerned.
Yeah,
As far as the park's concerned, we,
but the select board never voted to,
to stop
Yeah.
it,
yeah,
okay,
that would take years anyway to get.
yeah.
I'm sorry, because I mixed up. Can we start from the top so we can
Yep.
ask questions?
Sure,
Yep.
absolutely.
So the Arts Council, I know that, they were supposed to get a funding source for the speakers, but now that funding source fell through, so, they're looking, and that can't possibly be a ton of money.
No, no.
You know, and that's for the pavilion that they're doing over here, Mike.
Yes.
So what's the sense of doing the pavilion if we don't have speakers? Typically what happens is some of the performers bring their own, but it's so much better if we have,
When is the pavilion gonna be completed?
hopefully.
Because I know there was an issue
soon.
that they had to.
Yeah, we're moving the whole thing now, so,
Okay. But it is gonna happen,
yes,
but we don't have a number for
no,
the sound.
for that.
Okay.
But, I mean, we kind of
But buying
need
the
it.
speakers is anytime, it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's not predicated.
So the addition for the food pantry.
Is that supposed to be 275 for the addition for the food pantry per what we
Well,
were?
we
Yeah, that was my
asked for,
suggestion.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that was
Thank
Todd's
you.
suggestion, but, what happened was we said a couple hundred square feet by X number of dollars per
Sure.
square foot, and that's how we came up with the 250. And, you know, like I said, there is some other monies available for the furnishings, so we don't have to like, you know, the thought process is to do it in a very, you know, small way and actually have our facilities person contribute to doing the work, thereby keeping some of the costs down, so, hopefully so that's that 250. I don't know if someone else wants to take these, but facilities, we have the town hall roof, which is
Slate?
the old
Correct.
town hall,
The old-
not the current town hall.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
Oh, this is Old Town Hall?
Oh, no, I think.
No, this has to
Or
be
is this
current
new
Town Hall.
This is, yeah, this
Yeah.
is the-
New
the slate
town
roof.
hall,
Town hall.
okay.
He's done some work on it.
Not so new.
Yeah, right, it's not so.
Okay,
He's done some work on it.
Yes, he
Last
has
month, last
recently.
couple
So
We
it's-
had some
yeah.
slate.
It's only 200 years old.
old library window upgrade, I mean, if that's all new windows, that could be a significant
Exactly.
dollar,
Exactly.
so,
Yep.
And we have to do the historic windows as
Historic,
well.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly, yep.
yep.
And
Okay,
that was not on the 5-year capital plan, just
Yep,
as a
no, it
note.
wasn't.
Leah, can I ask a question
Yeah.
about the old library? As you know, if you go over there and you look at that building, all the cement is, you know, falling apart. And, if we don't do something about repointing that building is gonna be destroyed from water. I mean, it's really gotten bad in the last year. So I think that, you know, I understand that costs us about $30,000 to do. So that should be considered, you know, as a possibility.
yeah, I remember us talking about that too. a few
Yeah, the
years
step,
back.
and the steps and, you know, all those coming
Yeah,
apart.
It's really gotten
repointing.
bad, you need to look at it.
So we have to use the historical materials we have to use the historical materials for the repointing, in between the
Yeah,
stones,
that's
don't we?
not a big deal.
No?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay,
Because they're actually in the past, the materials that we used,
Yes.
done correctly.
Yes, I know, it kept it off the register for us, so it's falling right out now.
There's also the
so,
ramp. The balance on the ramp too, I believe.
yeah,
There's only about 26,000 left in the appropriation, and I think the bid came in,
40.
Yeah, 40 or
I think it's
50.
gonna have to go out to bid again too.
Yeah.
So
So,
that may be a shortfall.
right,
all right, so under the fire department, so we are getting a UTV, indirectly from the state, which will give us the access to the train tracks that we're responsible for, that have
So
no,
is that to us, or are we care of, in custody of it? Is it actually?
it's to us.
To us.
Yeah, but what the state did when they released the money from the bond bill, they gave it to one community and they're purchasing, so then our chief has to accept our part of that.
And it didn't come with a trailer.
And it didn't come with a
Right.
trailer,
With a
so, I think we kinda need a trailer for that. So then there's the SCBA fill station, which, if we pay for that through here, then we don't have to pay for it through
I don't know what that is.
the tanks that they use,
Got it.
yep, so they have to buy that. But whatever we buy for that will be able to be put into a new fire station, correct?
Yes.
That's
Mhm.
what,
Yep.
so
All the
we,
breathing
yeah,
apparatus.
we can
Yeah.
defray the cost from the new fire station for that. I'm not quite sure about the prefabricated training building. I'm sure whatever that is can be
Yeah.
moved.
Right.
You know,
That's something the chief
over.
would have to speak to.
Yeah.
Well, why would we get one, if the fire station
Yeah.
goes through, they already have one.
Yeah.
So to buy one now and then it goes through, it's on
Yeah,
the
that's-
design. It's-
Well, that would be an addition.
Well, this is like a
That's a-
physical training
Yeah.
building, not a
like a tower
sit-down
thing.
training.
Yeah, oh, I
where
thought
they-
that was part of the.
No,
Yeah.
no, no.
Oh, okay.
No, and they could just pick it up and move it there,
Yeah.
but, you know, that was a nice request.
A nice request.
Mike thought of the chief thought of
Yes,
that very
nice
quickly.
request, yes.
Yeah.
So what are our thoughts on that?
Well, I would have to hear the need for why
Yeah, he would have to justify,
Okay.
yeah.
justify that one. So the water line, after the decision the other night to, select this location out here on Bedford Street, so we have to get water there. So the
Water stops at town water, does?
I think it
not-
stops here,
Okay,
so it would have to be moved up,
Down here.
yeah,
Got it.
Yeah.
it'd have to be
You're not gonna be
moved.
able to get at the well from the North Fields, by the way.
Yeah, no.
It's
We
on
would
the
need
other
a water
side,
line.
plus it's non-potable water. I know that for sprinkler, but it's not gonna be enough to go all the way over there. Plus you gotta go through some environmental
Yeah,
stuff.
so we would need to, and that's why, we have a couple feasibility studies. I know some folks were on Facebook, and again, you have to address some of the stuff that you see sometimes. There's been 2 feasibility studies done on this over the course of, one was done, 2006, then we did another one in 2021, 2022. And, these locations have been discussed and, but most recently, the project manager did their own evaluation, so they've decided that this would be the better on Bedford Street, but there's no water there.
Yep.
Unlike the other location, had the water. So that's where that TBD came from,
Yep.
so,
And it's at least $250,000.
Oh, yeah.
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 At
I bet
least,
it's more. I bet it's more, yeah.
Rich, it's only money. I mean, this is just easy.
yeah,
But that project would, I think, qualify under the Plymouth County.
yeah, under the.
could we
Plymouth
ask them
County.
to
For
put a
sure.
sidewalk on top of it?
Yeah, yeah.
So we have a sidewalk too, have like a little joint project going?
Yep. So I thought I knew some of the numbers on how much the actual, like, for this building. I thought it was actually quite expensive, the water bills, when they come in the summer, when they're
They
using the
are,
sprinkler.
they
Oh,
are,
yes.
so originally we thought it would be
Yes.
fine, but
Yeah.
I remember back, 2019, we're saying, oh no, we need a well, and that was gonna be
That's
like 10 grand back then, so.
Chief
now
is
it's
very
a-
supportive of
Now
that.
it's a lot
Yeah,
more.
okay.
Yeah.
So
It'll free up
the
significant
irrigation
number.
well
Yep.
there and the police station
Yep.
would almost pay themselves back in
Absolutely.
a couple
Very-
of years, I
it's a
think.
Yep.
So those are.
Priority
kind of like
projects.
Yep.
Priority, because
Yep.
we're paying a ton of money
Yep.
to,
Yep.
even if we're using the well 4 months a year, the water, it's just
Yep.
accumulating.
Yep.
So I think we kind of touched on the parks.
Well, do you want me
I'm-
to?
Yeah, if you want to go over these, but I'm all for working on something on the skate park, but some of these other ones for Clear
Yeah, I mean,
Pond
the
is
the
kind
skate
of.
park, I know those lived here for a long time, 20 whatever. That was the most used
Yep.
facility at the park. It hasn't been done, nothing's been done to it, and the cracks are severe, the jumps are in great shape. So basically, the kids we used to have there aren't really coming, and the parents are bringing their small kids to use their bikes, but it's unsafe. I would if you don't do it, I would just assume lock it up in case someone doesn't. So I really want to just finish that, and I think that would be a good thing. As far as the beach playground, the basketball courts, the clear pond, I'll let you guys figure that out. And then renovating out the playground. As you know, John Pond is a very, very busy place.
Yep,
Busy 6-7 months, so that's another decision that you can think about.
yep.
On
mean-
the North Fields Water Electric line,
That was in the capital.
yep,
So, we have irrigation down there, okay, which isn't a problem. But the problem is, we have no water for the restrooms. Now, we put porta potties, but we have a portable unit that we bought a while ago. And it was down there, but there's no water there. So if we bring water across the way, then we'll be able to use our portable unit and save money on no porta potties. And as far as electric, we would like to run electric and put a security light there because it's going to be pitch black down there. So it's more about security and so forth. So that's why it was put
In the capital plan.
in the capital.
Yeah, okay. So renovate and add to the playground at John Pond Park. We should keep that here. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I understand I'm just saying if we were gonna do anything here, the playground at John Park, I think is more feasible because of the usage there. I know there are park committee members who really wanna improve Clear Pond, but I don't wanna make it I don't wanna say anything on that.
no, but you brought up a good point, it's 2 months out of the year, I mean, if it was like a splash pad or something that they'd
Right.
be using, you know,
Right.
simultaneously or something, it'd be different, but it would probably be a public nuisance
Yeah.
for the police to
Right, and we would
continuously go
be-
down there
yep.
and have to tell kids to leave,
Yeah.
like,
And we would
Yeah.
probably be hearing, you know, like complaints
Yeah.
saying, why
Why
did
is
we
it
put a
locked
nice
up?
playground and it's locked up all that, 10 months of the
yeah.
year?
We don't know
And-
how often it's gonna be open this year. We don't know about revenue, we don't know
Like guys.
about if select board's gonna say we can do it or not do it. So that's our
Yeah.
concern right now. It's a big concern for us because we lose money there. So we don't know whether we're gonna open up the towns or if the select board's gonna give us money as they do every year. So,
To replace, yeah.
yeah.
In the current proposed budget, the select board's contributing.
Oh, it
a
is?
That's in the
subsidy, yeah.
proposed budget.
Yep,
Oh, good.
$17,000.
17.5.
Well, it's
Same
cost
as
of
this
living,
year.
it should go up to 30.
Yeah, right.
Thank you very much for that.
Okay. All right, so, down to Public Works, because we talked about the well here. Resurface Howland Road, I mean, that's a big chunk of money.
Yeah, no, Frank understands that.
Yeah.
He said, should I take it off the list? I said, no.
Yeah.
Advocate for your
I
department.
almost feel like we should try to give him back what he reduced the capital plan. Didn't we say he reduced the capital plan?
Yeah,
Yep,
Yeah.
about 125,000.
Yeah, maybe we suggest that so that we can stay
Like, just-
on his plan, his long-term plan for the roads, because I know he's put a lot of thought into.
or you can give him the money for the Southworth and Leonard Street,
Yeah,
a particular project.
yep,
Yeah, I had the same talk with him and he said the same thing, it's
Yeah.
a long-term plan, but
Yep.
obviously equipment and things like that,
yep.
generally what he needs.
And then I'm not sure, I know what crack sealing is, but I'm not sure what he's talking about, what areas or what
I think it's
needs
just in
it.
general.
all over
That's
town.
everywhere.
Around town.
We've been
Okay.
very lucky with the weather, like prior to the last 5 years, like the budgets were crazy for
Yeah.
potholes and crack sealing and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But we haven't had that much plow activity, so, once we do, everything will come up and they'll be great.
And he does have some funds in his operating budget for,
Yes.
Yep.
For
He
this.
does.
for crack sealing.
He does.
Yeah.
It's not 60, I'd see that around 30,000 now, I think.
Okay, so kind of a question mark on resurfacing Howland Road, and it doesn't mean it doesn't need it, but,
Exactly.
you know,
Yep.
maybe.
I think we'd rather have others.
So I do know through Mr. LaCamera the other night, the whole Bridge and Main Street was brought up, which has been, so need to try to,
I reached out to District 5, they have not got back to me.
Yeah, so it used to be 200,000, right?
I mean,
It used to be 200,000.
it's 210% of the project, the $2 million,
Yeah.
bond,
Yeah.
whatever it's called, I forget. They said as long as we put up to 10%, which was 2%, to 10% of $2 million, they would move ahead with the project.
Yeah.
So the traffic study, the new traffic study that they required us to do about a year and a half ago, has already been done, so it's
Yep.
ready to move forward.
Yep.
Yep.
And you know as well as I do, Bob, in fact, the governor today has already started cutting back,
Yeah,
you know, bond funding
Yeah.
and grants and stuff, and you hate to lose this because
yeah,
it's important.
yeah.
We had to do another one, we already had one from 2018.
Honey?
We had to do another traffic study?
No.
because-
No, we're all set.
No, we're all set.
No, but we had one from 2018 for Bridge Street.
And we had to do it again.
We had to,
because it
we did
didn't
have to
meet
do
the
it again,
state's
just last year.
Qualifications.
Yep.
and I guess we should all put in the back of our brain that we could potentially have how many units of housing actually going in at the hospital, so that's gonna be a whole lot of traffic. Well, I shouldn't say that, it's gonna be more cars. And
Yep.
that is one of the, dangerous intersections in town, so.
Question on the subject of traffic signals. It used to be, and I don't know if it still is, that if we had a fire station or police station, that they would put a traffic signal out for us. Is that still the case?
I haven't heard that.
I don't think so. I think
They don't.
They don't do
they
that
don't,
anymore?
no, I know the one that Mattapoisett put in, they paid for
They
it. the
paid
town.
for,
Yeah,
okay.
Chair,
yeah.
Yep.
which is gonna be another cost of going to
Yep.
that location.
Yeah.
In dealing with Mass Highway, so when we were putting it down on Precinct Street, there was no signal that was required. But the permitting process, and Bob knows this as well, to go through and putting a traffic light or a signal, whatever it is, it might not be a traffic light, it could be a blinking light or
Yep.
whatever. State is unbelievable, to permit some of that stuff. And once again, you're probably talking easily $250,000 if it's just a blinking light that they push the button.
Yeah.
And
And so
light
they
goes
don't
on.
have the requirement existing place because it's grandfathered in?
Correct.
They
Yeah,
didn't,
I mean, the state won't make you, I don't think, put the light in, I mean, they shouldn't.
Yeah.
But, as we all know, Route 18 and
Yeah.
105 have been
Yeah.
a disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been accidents all over the place.
Lot of
It's
accidents.
terrible.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
anyways,
okay.
so yeah, that's another thing to consider, but I don't think you're ready to do it yet.
Okay, moving on, we have a request from the town clerk for vote tabulators. I think this is the first time I'm seeing
Yes,
this
that came
one.
in
Yep.
yesterday.
Okay. I take it they're more up-to-date machines, whatever.
So I don't, like I said, Todd and I are still waiting to hear from Plymouth County.
Yep,
I don't know if you want to meet with department heads. That's
Um,
up to
You've
the
answered
committee.
most of our questions.
Okay.
I mean, at least me, I've already talked to Frank.
Yeah, alright.
This is pretty simple.
Yeah.
So we can schedule a meeting when we hear back from
Yep.
Plymouth County.
yep,
And
Yeah.
So what happens?
we'll make some adjustments to the plans of what we heard today.
Yep,
So we'll come up with recommendations to go to the select board and then sit down, how does
Is
that
that
work?
what have you done in the past?
How's that work, Leo?
What have you done?
well,
in
the
the
So-
finance committee,
yeah,
yeah, we've done it jointly with the select board and finance committee, I think, in
yeah,
recent years.
yeah, I mean.
Do the
usually-
recommendations come from this committee to the finance committee and select board?
Yeah, but we
Okay.
never had to approve ARPA, so.
Yeah, right, okay,
So
exactly,
usually
yeah.
the capital expenditures would look at the capital plan and give a yay most of the time. Like you said, we've worked through it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think we should have some input too on the, ARPA funding,
course.
just because it's all,
Sure.
Yeah, it's all.
would otherwise be
It's all
capital
capital,
projects.
of course it
you know?
is. Yeah.
We're on a time crunch though.
We really
for the
are,
Plymouth
yeah,
County.
we need the select board to look at
Yeah.
that Plymouth County piece
Sooner than later.
in April.
You said April?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're in transition because of the transition here. Hopefully they'll take that into consideration.
Yeah,
They're pretty flexible,
Okay.
at least in dealing with them in the past that I've dealt
I
with.
mean, I think that, I think that we should, try to address this at
Yep.
that meeting next week. Honestly, we're having a meeting April 3rd, aren't we, to reorganize and everything?
Yeah. What would you want to put, what would you want on the agenda?
well, we're not voting on this, so,
Right, yeah, you're not gonna do any, I don't know, I don't know if we'll be able to put it all
When's
together
the
by
next board meeting after that?
the 8th.
The 8th.
Do you want to try to
Maybe.
get
It'll be
this
the new
meeting
board.
together again the day of
Yeah.
the third?
Yeah.
Like a double meeting, like one before?
yeah, maybe
and-
we do one before.
With the capital?
Yeah, the capital.
No, I don't think we'd have today's
Have it ready?
Thursday, yeah. Maybe
Okay,
Thursday,
so
probably
you,
wanna
we
try
have to
next.
wait to see when you hear from the county.
Yeah, we've got to get with the county
Yeah.
on what, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Bob, I would think you should ask them,
Yeah,
okay, they're gonna support the $200,000 for the traffic, just throwing these out.
for the what?
Traffic safety.
Yeah.
Engineering, the $250,000 for the senior center, and then I know they'll approve the water line.
Yeah.
It's another $500,000, so you have those three items, which is the biggest, if that's what they wanna do, which I would think they wanna move forward with,
Yeah.
that makes sense, but
yep,
that's up to the board, so.
But if the water line, if the town meeting says no to the fire station, then we've used up the
that allocation. on that.
allocation for the.
Well, we'll have
for the
another
water
bite of
line
the apple. We can go back before August.
To Plymouth
If
County?
town meeting, yeah,
Okay,
we've got a final,
Plymouth, okay,
submission the end of August.
all right,
So I
okay.
think if town meeting turned it down, we
We can readjust.
find something
Okay,
else
all
and
right.
Yeah,
we don't want to hand back 400,000 or
no,
whatever the
we
number is.
don't.
So the quick question, the ones that we thought would be okay and stay in there, is that gonna be more than the funds we'll have available? Do we know that? I mean, we're sitting here going, yeah, we'll do this, this, and this.
Yeah, I mean,
But is it-
without the
No, I think there'll still be
700
some priorities
yeah.
will have to be made.
I mean, if we take out the 700,000, I think we're within, well, we got the 250 and the 250 is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Adds up quick.
Yeah, it does
Yeah,
add
it
up
adds
quick,
up.
but, yep,
Well, that's something you guys will.
And again, these are only estimates,
yep.
Right.
as you know what that means.
Well, it's their fault if they don't ask them for enough money.
Yep. So,
All right, so I will be in touch.
Perfect.
and I got an answer, the chief must be watching, I believe he said, the fire chief, ambulance in August. So,
Oh, good, good.
Yep, so that was definitely a good, you know.
Yeah.
That was huge for us.
Yeah,
to take
oh,
that
yeah,
off the
yeah,
plan,
because
yeah.
that,
Fully
Um,
equipped, yeah, it's
yeah.
great.
Fully equipped, nice.
yeah. So, I'm assuming any old business, new business?
And we'll wait to set up a meeting
Yes.
Yep, so we'll set up a.
3 o'clock, good?
Yep, yep.
anytime.
Yep. All right, no old business, no new business. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
I-
moved. Seconded.
I said first, he said second.
Okay. Mike and Maureen, and the time is 4:04. All right. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Rich.
everyone.